Okay, today's video is going to be on positioning as support. Now, I saw a lot of people online on Reddit and stuff complaining that support wasn't fun anymore because they got nerfed too hard. And I don't think that's true. I think that seasons 0, 1, and 1.5 supports were really strong, and people relied too heavily on how strong supports abilities were, but also their ultimates. And they used them too much as a crutch in order to win their games. And I think this is both true, by the way, for support players, but also the people who are tank players and DPS players who rely too heavily on those things in order for them to win games. I think that it is better now. And I think that through proper positioning, support is still fun. It's just about, approaching it in a very similar way you do DPS. It's just now instead of targeting your enemies, you are now targeting your allies. So that being said, here's a game where I played Luna Snow the entire way through, start to finish, which is great because I don't have any content on her yet. And yeah, I'm going to show you how to understand that push and pull dynamic and rotating away from danger, and how, understanding that numbers advantage plays into that. So that being said, let's just jump into it. Ooh, bugged out. So immediately I'm just trying to see like what the enemy team comp is, but I want you to see how all the time I am rotating in a way where I am being mindful of having cover nearby. I applied the snowflake to magic because she was going to be the most difficult to apply heals to. And here I start to see where the enemy is. I start to see my tanks contesting space, and I want you to notice how I am always keeping a distance between me and my tanks and my frontliner, right? If we look at it from the bird's eye view, you're going to see tanks controlling space and trying to push the enemy back to allow our payload to move forward, right? What you're also going to see is DPS will come to try and take these angles up here, or sometimes they come around here. And the enemy DPS are going to try and contest that same space to try and keep them back. Because what DPS will try to do is they'll try to get behind the tanks to apply pressure to get them to back up. And what me and the other support are going to do is we're going to try and keep our distance from our tanks, a safe distance from our tanks to where we can see them, but we can still apply heals. And same for the enemy supports. They are going to be standing behind their tanks, allowing their tanks to push up and take that space. Because if the DPS can manage to close the gap really easily and flank the tanks and the supports are right next to them, it makes it really easy for the DPS to just say, well, I'm just going to target the supports instead. What you want to do as a support is you want to make it as difficult as possible for those flankers to reach you. And if they do reach you, they put themselves at greater risk. So you always want to be near your team and within LOS of your team, but not directly next to your team. If that makes sense. So here, as we start to push them back, just through the use of doing damage, we lose one immediately as Psylocke gets a good execute on Iron Man. They get res, so they come back. But even though they come back, we lost one. So temporarily, we start to get pressure applied to us. And now that Captain America is diving our backline, my first instinct is to start doing damage to Captain America. Because if you saw my How to Win Against Die video, I want to do damage to them, to the flankers, to the divers, to get them to leave, and prioritize keeping my support alive. Whoever's at the front line will hopefully stay alive for a few seconds while I focus on that. And as we start to rotate back, I back up with my team. Right, as we lose numbers, I back up in order to try and make sure that I stay alive. I'm trying to apply pressure, but you see that as my tanks back up, I am backing up with them. I don't want to be the last to back up. I don't want to be next to my tanks and making it easy for them to apply damage to me. I want to keep my distance from them as much as possible. And now that Cap is diving me, I apply pressure back to him. I try to force him out, and I try to help my team follow up on damage. And my team overall has high health, so I am trying to apply damage to Cap because he's low. No one is going to die in this scenario if I stop healing them for a second to apply damage to Cap. And because of that, we end up getting a nice kill. And now that we have the numbers advantage and my tanks and DPRs are walking forward, I am walking forward with them. Once we get 2 picks and it's a 6v4, now I'm okay and comfortable playing super aggressive with my team to try and deal damage, to try and get more staggers. I'm applying damage to the Wolverine, trying to proc his passive. Magic unfortunately gets dove behind a pillar and blown up by the DPS. And because of the fact that she got, picked off in this moment, now I am going to let my tanks walk forward. But I know that because we're down one and the enemy team will be back sooner before Magic will, I start to back up and give up that space again, and so do my tanks. I want to be in a position where I am using all of this area here as cover, right? I'm using the payload as cover. I'm using this as cover. I am always standing in a position to where if I start to get shot, I can get to cover quickly. So I'm not going to be immediately bursted. And if a flanker like a Psylocke wants to get to me, that means that she needs to first pass by both of my tanks and my DPS to get to me. But I'm still going to be within LOS of my rocket. And now that the enemy team has used a defensive ult rather quickly, I would say, I back up and I give up space to try and survive through this because of the fact that we don't have anything to counter that ult, right? So I would much rather us give up space and try and survive than to try and contest space that we know we can't win a fight in. And now that we start to lose one, once again, you saw as when my tank is backing up, I am backing up too. And now that we back up and we get a good ult with the squirrels and I get a good shot off on the Psylocke and on the Wolverine, now we can start to walk back up and retake that space. Cloak and Dagger ults, and our Magneto went for the safe pick instead of trying to kill the Cloak and Dagger and cancel our ult out. He saw a better opportunity to secure a kill 100% on the Invisible Woman, so that was the smart play right there. Now we just have to sort of heal through this Cloak and Dagger ult in order to try and wait it out so we can take advantage of our numbers advantage and clean up the rest of the people who are there. But you see how even though my team is up here and my team is attacking all these people in here, I am not playing up in this area, right? I can hit my shots from far away. I can heal from far away. I am not going to stand in the area where all of the danger is. I am always in a position where I am thinking of my safety first because of the fact that if I am near my team, that means the enemy can choose like, oh, who do I attack in this moment? Like, well, I could attack the tank, I could attack the magic, or I could attack the support who's right there. If you are near your team, you are always the first to be targeted. So I am keeping my distance and my range from them. I'm not going to blow the lead that we've been given until I know that the fight is in our favor, like it is here, and this Magneto is out of position, and I go to try and help my team to follow up. And I walk up on him knowing it's safe and knowing my shots are a lot easier to hit if I'm right next to him. And because of that, we get a nice secured kill on him. I am prioritizing just staying alive at the moment, keeping my other support alive so we maintain this advantage. I help my team, and as my ult starts to run out, I start to back up as well. I use my rocket jump there from rocket to get out of the way of the Wolverine. And here, once again, every time I start to back up, I am always being mindful of my positioning and making sure that I have cover wherever I go. Now, because of the fact that I have cover, I am out of the LOS of the enemy support ult, and I rotate away from that danger. I am trying to push in with my teammates and pull back with my teammates, but also rotate away from the incoming danger. If somebody like a Psylocke, for instance, were to come along this side and start to, if I saw her like, show up here, or a Cloak from this side, I would then start to rotate back over this way, away from that danger, and predict it incoming. It is a lot easier to survive predicted incoming damage than it is to try and react to it after the fact. So here, because of the fact that I predicted that the enemy team was going to do throw out ultimates, or try and contest this point, I am in a position where I can safely help and heal my teammates and apply damage if I need to, but I'm also in no danger of the enemy team's ultimates. And even though my Emma Frost is in there and in that ultimate, I am not going to bother peeking out when she's, got more than half of her health to try and risk my life in order to top that off. There's no point. My first priority is survival, and then after that, then I'll try and help my team. So here, once again, because of the fact that I am so far back, now once I start to get attacked, I left this ambulance here on my left on purpose. I wanted to make sure that if I got attacked, Now it can get the help of my rocket here, but now this battle with Psylocke has changed from it being a team battle to being a 1v1 between me and her. And because I land a nice good freeze on her, I rotate around. I don't have necessarily the killing potential to kill a Psylocke, so I back around the ambulance at first to try and let my team know that she's low and frozen, so that way my team can help follow up on that damage. And because of that, we get the pick on her. But you saw how I made the dive to get to me rather difficult for her, and I made it more difficult by trying to have to close that gap in order to get to me. And then when she got to the point where she closed that gap, then getting out of that position was extremely difficult. So here, now that we have the numbers advantage, I'm just trying to follow up on damage with my team, so that way we secure the point. Typically, supports are the ones that should have the least deaths because of the fact that you hang out at the very back. You hang out usually in one of these safer positions where you don't want to be on the front line. You don't want to be on the off angles. You want to be in the back, healing. You can still off angle and still apply damage and still heal. However, what you primarily want to do is take those safe positions and not put yourself at risk of dying. Whatever you do should always be a calculated risk. It's fine if you want to play an aggressive support, if you're confident in your abilities to get back out. So here I told Rocket to go up and to help the team because he had his ultimate and I could sit on payload because you always want at least one person on payload. So that way it moves faster. And because of the fact that the enemy team ults here, we start to just back up and give up space again. Because once the enemy team starts to ult like that and use those defensive ults, if you can't cancel that ult out, you can't kill anything through it, you want to try and survive it. And luckily they use double support ults, so now we just need to wait for our next push. We lose one, but they get rezzed. And once again, because of the fact that now I start to get damaged by Psylocke, the rest of my team follows up on her positioning and are able to take her out. If I was up with my team, I might have been taking too much damage from the Meg or the Emma, or might have made it too easy on the Psylocke to apply damage to kill me. A lot of the times, I know it's fancy to look at the game and see like, oh, Psylocke's got a one-shot combo, or oh, these person's Magic has a one-shot combo. A lot of your deaths aren't going to come from being hit by a one-shot combo. What's going to happen is you're going to take a lot of damage from someone and a little bit of damage from someone else. So my positioning is trying to mitigate how much of that damage I'm hit by other people. So if I'm just hit by Psylocke, I'm okay. If I'm hit by Psylocke, Meg, and Emma at the same time, I'm probably going to die. So you want to try and minimize that. One-shot combos are great and they're flashy, but they're very inconsistent. So here, I am just trying to follow up, and now that I see my team is getting picks, I can play aggressive. And support is not my main role. I do think it's fun at times. I do think some of the supports are fun, but just like tank, even though DPS is my main role, it's the role I have the most fun at. When I am playing these other roles, and they're an off role, what I'm trying to do is maybe not necessarily hard carry, but at least be the reason my team doesn't lose, right? I'm not trying to throw the game by playing too aggressive or, die a bunch when it's not the role I'm most comfortable on. So instead, I play to help facilitate and help my team out by pulling resources or just playing smart and playing safe and backing them up. Because here, after Rocket had ulted, I should have told him to sit on payload while I went up to heal, so that way I could charge my ult, because now I don't have a defensive ult for the next fight, which causes us to die here. If I would have told my Rocket to back up, so I could charge my ult, we would have probably survived that. Which would have been really handy, because now they get to charge a bunch of ult off of my team. Magic is going for some damage on the Meg and pushing him back. So I try to follow up. And you see how I'm not walking up without my team? I am waiting for my tanks and my DPS to contest the space first. And now that they do, and I'm rotating with my team, I am rotating in a way where, once again, like right here, I want you to see my positioning here. It is not accidental that this entire piece of collision here is on the side. And I want to be able to heal the Magneto who's low. I can see him and the enemy team cannot see me, right? And I can follow up on anybody who's trying to take a risk, like this Emma Frost here. And if I needed to, I could start applying damage to her as well.
No hitting pause. We have to get to Avengers Tower. I suck.
Here, I am prioritizing keeping my team alive, trying to apply those heals like you saw before, using this mindful as cover. And now that like rockets all come out, I try to help my team follow up. I'm trying to shoot the people who are outside of the Invisible Woman ult, and luckily we get a good kill on her. So that means we can play aggressive, and I'm also playing a bit more aggressive because of the fact that I have my support ult up. If anything were to happen, I can hit Q, but for now, I'm just trying to apply damage with the use of Rocket's ults. That way we can clean up. And once again, once you see one drop and you see the second drop, then it's just clean up after that.
Getting this robot to Avengers Tower should be simple enough.
All the time, though, you are going to see me rotate and push with my tanks and pull back with my tanks, but also rotate away from the danger and be mindful of the position, right?
I suppose that helped.
Here, I recognize that we need one on the payload, and I tell Rocket to just go and charge his ult because I feel like his offensive ult might be more beneficial here. So I want him to charge it sooner. And I didn't think that they were going to make a play this soon because of the fact that the cart was not close yet. So I ulted a little bit late, but we still managed to get 2 kills out of it. 3 kills. We still managed to win the fight, but I start to back up. I try to apply some damage. I sit on payload. Once again, you always want to have one person on the payload. It always at least one. Here, even if we put 2 or 3 on this payload, it wouldn't really matter too much because they would still be able to contest anyway. So what I would, what my team is doing instead is they're trying to contest the space. So that way there's less space taken over for them to make it easier to take it back. So, even if we put 2 or 3 on, it wasn't going to get to the point to cap. Here, once again, I can see my teammates. I can apply damage to people. I am being mindful of whatever flank positions there might be. I am keeping an eye on who might try and attack me, and I'm always in a position to where if I needed to, I can back out and get away around cover. And because of the fact that I am positioning and thinking ahead, as soon as Mag ults, and I know that Mag is looking for supports, I can run away and get to a safe position so he wastes his ult. I try to get out. Psylocke has a really good ult, and we get wiped, but it's fine. Overall, it's been a really good game so far, so I haven't been too worried. So here, now I recognize that they have a Hawkeye, so I start to play a bit more safe. And here, I am positioning in a way where I am trying to not peek out, because if I peek out, that Hawkeye can one-shot me. So I'm trying to heal my team from this position, and they're walking away from it. But otherwise, even though my team is backing up, I am not about to walk out into danger in order to try and heal them. They need to walk to me. And here, you notice that, like, I was back around that corner over there. And then as my team started to rotate up, I rotate into this area to then use that as safety. So, we start to trade places and you rotate with your team in that way, where I am being mindful of that Hawkeye trying not to get shot, and I am letting my tanks take the space for me. My tanks and my DPS. I apply the snowflake to magic, I throw an icicle, and I'm always like rotating one cover to the next cover, right? I am constantly rotating back and forth, applying heals to my team, being mindful of my positioning, and making sure that the enemy team can't see me, but I can apply heals safely to my team. And now that ults are popping out, I am in the back. I am playing safe. I am trying to keep my team alive and wait out the enemy team support ult, so then we can do something afterwards. Applying heals the best I can, but being mindful of trying to stay safe in my position. Follow up on applying heals to my teammates who are ulting. Because if she's ulting, that means that's my win condition, right? I see Hawkeye is there, so I'm trying to prioritize keeping my rocket alive. If I keep my rocket alive and I keep him healed up, then that means he can apply heals to the rest of my team. Here, I know that Hawkeye is behind this wall, so that's the reason why I am specifically putting him there while I try to keep my team alive, because it's overtime, so I can play a bit more risky in this scenario. But once again, once I start to get dove, my first reaction is to defend myself first. The rest of my team, I can't worry about healing and keeping them up. My first reaction is I need to survive first. But even though you're a strategist, you're a support, you heal, that doesn't mean that you don't do damage, right? You can do enough damage to, like, if you saw my How to Win Against Die video, do enough damage to force them away or possibly still kill them. In this instance, I take the fight to her. And just like before, I'm trying to be mindful of keeping the cover on my side and try and force Psylocke into essentially a 1v1 with me, which she loses. Now that I have my support ult, I can play a bit more aggressive with my team directly on the payload. I ult hearing the Cloak and Dagger ult, and I immediately hop behind cover here because of the fact that I know that he's looking for me, so I don't want to make it easy. I want to try and put collision between me and him. And he throws it, and he misses, and it doesn't do enough to kill me, and also it didn't get my overshield, so I knew I was going to stay alive even if he got somewhat close. So now I can jump back out and heal my team. My team wasn't going to die in those few seconds that I ran away for the most part, most likely, so it was fine for me to run away. And now I am just trying to heal and allow my team to regain some of their health and wait out the Cloak and Dagger ult. And then once my ult starts to run out, then I start to back up and let the tanks hold that space for me, so I don't have to be up in there. Once again, she's ulting, and I don't care if I can't see my teammates. I am not walking into that death trap. Because once again, now the enemy team is ulting, and I'm not in that ultimate. Like, this Emma Frost has ulted multiple times, and I've not been in a single one of them. Mag is on my right, so I put this between me and him. I try to support my team where I can and not put myself in danger. So even though they're getting hit by the ult, it's okay. They're tanks. That's what they're supposed to do. And now I can come back out and help follow up on what my team is doing.
Don't give them another inch. Or else. Strong together.
Getting this robot to Avengers Tower should be simple enough.
And here I'm just trying to apply pressure to keep them back and control that space with my team. But I realize that they start to contest that space. So I back up out of the space, right? Once I realize that it's no longer safe for me, then I leave. I prioritize keeping my support alive. I mess up by accidentally stepping into the Psylocke ult and I die, but luckily she's res station, or he's got the res station. Luckily somehow Invisible Woman missed it. So I immediately back up to safety to try and help my team. And here, as Mag is fighting me, I go to fight the Mag. I am totally fine with taking a fight with someone, and because of the fact that he's low, I can make him defend himself. And because he does, I go to heal my Scarlet Witch, because once again, if your allies are ulting, that's your win condition. You heal whoever on your team is ulting to make sure that you can follow up on what they're doing, so that way they can help win you the fight. And because of that, he wipes out 3, and we're able to survive long enough that my team can come back and we can hold the point. Cap is stalling, Loki is stalling, and when Loki drops totems, when Namor drops squids, when people drop those inanimate objects that you can shoot, supports are really great at destroying them. So I focus on destroying them so my team can focus on securing the kills. But you see how, like, I'm letting them take that space for me? I don't need to be on this payload, even though it's overtime. Like, we only need one person on there. As soon as they're dead, then we get to win that fight. I am not going to put myself at risk in order to try and secure this point. That is the job of the tanks and the DPS. If I die, we for sure lose. But if I can stay alive, we might have a shot. And you'll see here, you know, out of everyone's deaths, once again, on the enemy team, or on my team, I have the least amount of deaths, but I also have 24 KOs and 23 assists. 5 of those also are final blows. Supports are not just heal bots, they are able to do a lot more. You know, being able to follow up on damage is something that supports can do great in this game. And I think a lot of people get too stuck in the idea of heal botting your team when understanding when to do damage is a crucial aspect of playing support. So here on offense, you're going to see me up on the high ground. I will do my best to try and control space and scout and take a look at things just as I would if I was on DPS or if I was on tank. Because once again, supports, you know, everybody can control space. Everybody can do damage. Everybody can help contest, you know, certain areas. So I'm going to help follow up on what my team is doing.
3,
My tanks might be best at controlling space, but that doesn't mean that I am useless. So here I'm trying to apply early damage to see if I can't get some early ult charge. I follow up on what my team is doing. I see a Emma Frost attacking my team, so I immediately go into following up on what my, you know, what her play is about to be. And once again, just because I'm a support doesn't mean that I can't do damage. Because of that, we end up securing the kill rather early on her, which means that gives us a huge advantage. And here, this is what I mean by rotating away from danger, right? The enemy team is down here. I don't know exactly what they have. I know we got a pick, but I see that my ally needs healing. So I rotate up and around back into this doorway using this area as cover so I can keep them within LOS of me and apply their heals while also doing it safely. And I can see that like my team is applying pressure, so I'm trying to follow up on like what they're doing, either by applying heals or applying damage, whichever one is most valuable. I also freeze the Psylocke, and I know that I don't have the ability to kill her, so hitting her out of the freeze wouldn't do anything, and CC in this game is stupid long. So when I apply the freeze on her, I just leave her there. She's just not going to be in the fight, and I'm going to start healing everyone else and doing damage to other people. If someone with a one-shot capability can do something, great, but otherwise, I'm just going to leave her frozen, so that way she's out of the fight for 5 or 6 seconds, and hopefully the rest of our team gets an advantage that way. I'm applying damage because everyone's for the most part full. And my team starts to extend pretty far, and because of that, Wolverine kidnaps them, and then Magic dies at the same time, which is really unfortunate timing. Losing 1 isn't so bad. It's possible to turn, but losing 2 is really bad. Because now, even though we get the res, it's kind of pointless as we need to back up. Once again, as my team starts to back up, I am backing up with them. I don't want to wait until they're standing next to me to back up. And here, as I see that they are going to be on this side, I rotate into this room to stay away from the danger, keeping my support alive first. And then once we start to get those picks back, then we can start to play more aggressive as we can push back in on them. But I hear the Psylocke on my right, so I'm trying to be mindful of my right side. Now that we have the rocket ult, now I can play more aggressive with my team. And for the most part, prioritize damage over heals because that support ult is going to help, but I will still heal people if they're low. And once again, Invisible Woman ults, we can't kill anything, so I'm going to back up. I'm going to give up that space. Even if they're about to cap the point, if I walk into that ult, especially at 95% ult, and I die, that's a throw, right? It is up to my team in order to touch that payload. I do not have the health, the ability to touch that payload and survive. Walking into this room is a death sentence. I want to stay alive and only, walk up if I have my ultimate. So now that Mag is ulting and I see that someone else is on the point, I back up and around it, let him waste that ult, and then I come back out because you see how even though I stepped away for a second and everyone got really low, I came back out and I was still able to heal them back up. I prioritize staying alive first and foremost, and then I'm going to go help my team. I back up because I knew my ult was going to run out, and because I had walked away with my back turn, I didn't realize that I was being followed, and then I die for it. Always prioritize surviving in this game. You can't always be the one hard carrying every single one of your games, but if you stay alive enough, you provide more value to your team and more uptime that you'll just naturally win more games off of the fact that you just die less, and you can provide more value being alive. So here I can take more aggressive angles as I rotate around, checking off angles, trying to see where I can apply damage or heals. And now as I start to walk up, I start to throw out abilities and try to keep people alive. I can't see what's going on in there, so I'm not about to walk forward and find out. And now, now that we start to lose one, we get one back, but they're coming through the res station, so I'm just trying to follow up on what my team is doing. And since Magic is ulting, I'm trying to follow up on whatever she is doing. As I feel that they start to lose people, I start to play more aggressive with my team, but because of the fact that I am at the back, I can easily get away from this Emma Frost ult. I'm way too far out of the LOS to be hit by it, and because of it, it's a totally useless ult. Really fantastic ults by my team here. And once they start to fall over, then I can play aggressive and doing damage with my team. Killing Loki clones, because that's my job. Here, I'm just preparing for the next fight that we're about to have. And here is where I don't like the position of what my teammates are doing because of the fact that they are both isolated up here and they're not within my LOS. Right now, the enemy team, they still have some time to try and find routes around to the point. They don't have to rush immediately to the point, but because they're out of the LOS, if they get picked, there's not much I can do to help them in that position, and me going up there is really not much of an option.
Moving again.
So I'm just trying to hold and help my tanks hold this space right here. Emma Frost is up here contesting the high ground, which is fine. I worry about my Magic and Moon Knight, though, being off on their own. So I'm just going to stick here and try and let my tanks contest that space. I am not putting myself at risk and going within danger, but the moment that I see Wolverine, I start to rotate away, thinking he might be coming towards me. But because of the fact that he sees targets isolated up top, he's going for them. And even if I call it out, it's very difficult to get towards them. And here, now, we get into a big old team fight in which we start to get picks, which is great. We end up winning this fight. But once again, because of the fact that I can't see up there, we end up losing one. And then we lose a second one. And we end up getting the kill, but we only end up sort of trading because they got two. We got the res. And now we start to run away. And they get the hit on our rocket. And now because of the fact that they were isolated upstairs and there was no way for us to reach them, now we are at a disadvantage, especially as they have a strange TP on the point. And because I was playing smart and I was playing safe, now I'm left sort of trying to buy time until my teammates can get back. And so I'm trying to help my Meg and keep him up. I did not see that Meg got that low because he had cloned and he disappeared off my screen. Then I was only paying attention to keeping Emma Frost alive here. And now I am just trying to buy time and keep my teammates alive and hope that we can make a play off of these ults. We lose another. And because of the fact that we were put on the defensive, it made it very difficult for us to sort of regain that momentum as we're just sort of losing the point now. This is why I don't, I say be near your team, but be within LOS or have some sort of escape route, because of the fact that if I were to have gone up there and joined my DPS or my tank upstairs, I might not have had an escape route. It wasn't safe for me to take that position, so I didn't. But because of it, the enemy DPS saw them and was like, oh, we can capitalize on these guys who were in this position, and it was beneficial to them.
Almost there. Don't turn back now. I'm back in the fight.
So now we're just trying to do what we can to see if we can't stop them here at this first point. But because of the fact that we are now rushing to the point, it puts us in a position where we can't get to areas that are safe. We can't hold safe places. I'm not able to back up into a safe position like I've been doing all game. Now I need to rush. And this is the reason why you know, when the team has control over the objective, the other team has to sort of put themselves at risk to retake that objective. And rushing out stuff like this happens.
I'm making a comeback.
Vehicle reached a checkpoint. Keep up the momentum.
I think that that sort of stuff happens when your team gets a little too confident, like when they're feeling like the win is in the bag and they start to, you know, play differently. If we would have just stuck closer together, we, you know, like we had been doing, we would have been able to hold that first point. But we separated and went different directions, and everybody took individual fights. When they took those individual fights and lost those individual fights, then we lost the point.
Some uninvited guests.
Because with the strange TP, they got back faster than we did. Here we lose another one, and we get the res, but we need to survive through that. Here's the first time of Frost Ult I get hit by. But luckily, because of the fact that I was still positioned far enough back, I was able to stay alive. And here, once again, here in this position and here, I can see my team and the enemy team can't see me, so I can apply heals to them without putting myself in major risk. But I see the rocket ult goes off, so I try to stand within the rocket ult and apply those heals. I'm also trying to sort of use my abilities off of cooldown in order to try and get the most value out of them. I throw my icicles randomly, you know. Sometimes a random icicle in a fight might help secure a kill. I only hold on to it if I feel like I'm getting dove repeatedly and I need to. But to me, I feel it's better to use them than to just let it sit there. Here, once again, I'm not afraid to play aggressive and off angle as a support, you know, and build up ult charge and apply pressure.
Only 60 seconds left. I am ready to put on a show. Disappear.
Here, I just try to prioritize staying alive because of the fact that the enemy Sue ulted afterwards. I want to try and back out sooner because of the fact that my ult should run out first. I'm keeping my team alive. Destroy the Loki totems. That's my job. Reason why you throw out random snowballs. Prioritize to keep my team alive, but see how once again, as it starts to get dangerous, I start to rotate back and around, and I keep my team alive by keeping my distance.
I see you've been taking my lessons to heart.
Here we get another amplifier, which means that I can play aggressive again.
Dear.
Dr. Strange has opened a portal. The final 10 seconds.
And as the portal walks up, I get away to keep my distance.
By the eye of Agamotto!
Keep fighting until we have a winner.
It's really unfortunate. I have Agamotto that I should have expected. I didn't keep my distance far enough away. I should have expected those ultimates after the portal.
I'm making a comeback.
My team is portaling in on them. I am not going to portal in on them. And the reason why is because of the fact that the payload is right here, right? I am going to go off angle now as a support, even though, you know, once again, off angle, typically you think DPS, you think tank. If we all walk through that portal at once, they all know where we're coming from. This Loki doesn't realize I'm on this side, and I can apply pressure to him and help follow up on what my magic is doing. And because of the fact that I went the different direction and helped, you know, get Loki down to half health, it made it easy for my magic to then clean up. And now the enemy team is going to have a harder time attacking me because of attacking all, you know, everybody at once because of the fact we're in different locations. We're attacking them from 2 different locations here instead of predictably all coming through the portal at once.
Another hit for Luna Snow.
And then it just turns into a win.
Score 1, 2, 3.
But you saw how the entire time, you know, I was playing support. It was, you know, I wasn't just heal botting. I wasn't, you know, only doing damage. I wasn't you know, I wasn't playing up near my front line. I was pushing and pulling with the numbers advantage that we had or didn't have. I was playing in a way where I was always mindful of where my tanks were and where my DPS were. And you saw how very few times that I died, but also how many kills that I got to be a part of, as well as how many assists that I had. You know, I had lower damage overall, but because of the fact that I had so few deaths and because of the fact that I had extra final hits in there, my impact was greater. This is the reason why I don't want people to focus on like, you know, the scoreboard or what the healing numbers are or whatnot. Like that, this is incredibly misleading. If you would have looked at this scoreboard, you would have thought to yourself like, oh, well, you know, looking at the healing numbers, like Luna didn't really do much. But I wasn't trying to specifically focus on just healing. I was trying to stay alive so that way we could have more fights. I was trying to secure more kills so that way we could win more fights. Healing is great, and it's great to be able to keep your team alive and everything like that. But there's so much more context around understanding, you know, when there's good healing and when there's trash healing. I try to focus primarily on good healing where I keep you alive when it's really necessary, and I try to focus on doing damage and final hits to help us win that fight and help you secure those kills rather than just, you know, being a heal bot all game and wondering. And also primarily, once again, because of the fact that me and Rocket stayed alive the most, it made it much more easy or much easier to win fights because of the fact that we just had greater uptime, right? We could win more fights because we were alive longer, because our positioning was better, because we rotated better. So yeah, that is sort of like how you position as a support and how you can stay alive. You know, whether it be against dive or whether it be against poke, you want to be mindful of what the enemy team's team comp is and rotate away from that danger and always be mindful of your cover and predicting the incoming ults and what's about to hit you. Because yes, you are the first priority pick. You are the first one that people are going to want to try and kill. But that just means that you should make it very difficult for them to reach you and very difficult for them to shoot you. And once again, the one-shot combos typically aren't going to be the thing in the game that kills you. It's going to be a combined damage from multiple sources at once. So try to limit the multiple sources that are hitting you at once. You do that and you'll just have a greater chance of surviving. Anyway, that was how to position a support. I hope that this was helpful. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. And if I can, you know, I think my next video might be on off angling and how that works. So yeah, hope you found this one useful. And once again, anything else you want to know, leave it in the comments below.